Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara. We talk about TV shows. The year is 2021 and the name of the show is Babylon 5. This is season 3, episode 1. It is called Matters of Honor. So full spoilers for the episode as always. And yeah, so we're no longer in 2259, right?
59.
We're in 2260 now in the show. So exciting stuff. We have new intro music. We even have a new narrator for the intro. We've switched to Ivanova. I wonder.
Good change.
Yeah, I wonder if this was always a planned thing where they'd cycle through, and we didn't necessarily notice that they'd done it because we just kind of assumed, oh, he's the new captain, so now it's just him now. Or is it because, oh, it was always going to switch, but they decided to do, Sheridan first because now he's the new one. Yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe because Bruce Boxleitner just wasn't that good at it, so.
But they redone it after like 6 or 7 episodes. He got good at it. They got better.
It got better. Yeah.
Yeah. But the question I have though would be switching again. Is Delenn or Garibaldi going to be like doing the voiceover next season? I wonder. We'll find out. We'll find out in about.
Give it to Jakar. Jakar needs a win.
Oh yeah, we'll find out in about 22 weeks, give or take. So. No, that was interesting. And the music's much darker. It's much more like we're in dire times. Although
even the dialogue is like super dark.
That's true. Although
last best hope for peace, it failed.
I do appreciate though that the original main theme is still the closing credits because I still want to hear it. So I'm glad it's there.
Yeah, I didn't really catch on to the theme for the new one. Is this the more recognizable theme?
What do you mean?
For the show? Because the show, it's a different theme song in the opening. Is this like the more recognizable theme? Like when people think of the Babylon 5 main theme, do they think of season 3 onward or? Oh,
I don't know about that because I wouldn't. I'm also new to it.
I know that you said that you appreciated the main theme when it kicked in like season 2 or something, or maybe late season 1.
Yeah, like the main theme it had, season 1 and 2. I like that main theme.
Okay. I thought it was like, I thought you were talking like, because the beginning of the first season like didn't have the main theme in the opening credits, but then like you started to hear it more later on or something. Whatever. Well, let's move past.
It was all the gallery that didn't have it. Episode 1 onwards had.
Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. No, I don't know what long-time fans think of as the main theme first, but I would suspect since this was here first and since it's still there at the end, it's probably, and it's more hummable. We can hum that the season 1 and 2 theme. So I suspect that that's still maybe what comes to mind first, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get so used to this darker theme that we'll I don't know. But I like that original theme a lot though. So I'm not letting it go quietly. This is my thing. And a couple of interesting things in the credits though, since we're just talking about that right now. Zach has been promoted to series regular. He's in there, which notably he's not in this episode. The first time he gets in those opening titles, he's not in the episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this episode too. We basically get everybody
else, yeah, more or less. Although I don't think Veer's in this episode. I think Veer's missing too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
and we get like the character model heads like looking at everybody, looking at the camera. They all do the turn.
That's the thing, it's changed. Season 1 just had the names against space, and then season 2 added in the actual clips of them. So we still got their heads, but yeah, now it's like more of the camera's still going around the station, but there's like a sort of window with their head in it, like appearing. Yeah, as their names come up.
I hope season 4 they do the Predator one where everyone looks and then starts laughing.
Given that that's going to be the bigger, more climactic end to this main story in season 4, I suspect that won't be the tone they're going for. But
maybe season 5.
Season 5's after the main conflict, I believe. So maybe season 5 will be more open to that.
Predator style end credits.
Yeah, we also have a new guy in the credits though, like a completely new person that we didn't know. Marcus Cole, who is a ranger. So we now have like a sort of central ranger figure to. Why are you smirking at that? What's funny?
I mean, he's Aragorn, right, from Lord of the Rings. He's a ranger. He looks like Aragorn. He's got the look. He's got the fancy elven green brooch from the Minbari.
I mean, I didn't think of any of this because I don't like Lord of the Rings.
All right. Well, I mean, don't be surprised if he ends up being a king of a planet after season 5.
to be fair, how much of Aragorn is Luke though?
From the book, yeah.
Is all from the books? Because the movies obviously hadn't happened yet when this came out, so...
No, Aragorn is described very much like, in the books, like this guy is. He got, like, grey eyes and dark hair and white.
Yes. Now, I can't really say this with confidence after one episode, but I'm willing to bet you that by the time this show is done, I am going to care far more about Marcus Cole than I ever did that chump Aragorn.
How dare you call him? That's a king. You don't call him a chump.
He's a chump. He's a chump in Tolkien
with a beautiful singing voice.
Does he sing in the movies?
He sings at the end of Return of the King.
Well, I'm sorry.
Actually.
I'm sorry I don't remember the 17 endings from Return of the King, okay?
Yeah, he sings at one of the endings.
It was a traumatic experience where I was just like, come on, end this 4-hour
Well, it was
nightmare.
traumatic for the fans for the thing to end. So, they just gave us more and more and more. And thank you. Thank you, Peter Jackson.
That's enough. Finish it. Close the book. We're done. Everyone go home. Okay. All right. So, a good episode. We'll just start off with that. Lots of good stuff in this. It advances things and it makes the main characters more proactive, which is really exciting at this point in the story, I think. So we got a bunch of things to talk about. I guess the first scene is Sheridan come up to Kosh and asking him some questions. He's like, I've been meaning to speak to you ever since you kind of saved my life with your whole angel shenanigans.
Were you surprised that Kosh was in the suit again?
No.
I guess I was expecting him to be out of the suit. Like, everybody saw who he was.
Not only that.
He would be out.
Not only that, this scene makes it clear that other than Sheridan and Delenn, no one realized that was Kosh.
Knew it was Kosh. Yeah, I didn't realize that at all. I thought, that's it. Vorlons are exposed and that's over now.
I didn't realize it at the time, but it didn't surprise me when he said it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, okay. Like, no one necessarily saw the suit open up and...
Everyone just thinks a miracle happened on Babylon 5.
Well, to be fair, they all saw biblical, like, angelic figures to their own culture, so...
Yeah, but there's, like, atheists, too. Like, we know there's atheists on board the station.
Yeah, but we didn't hear what an atheist... I mean, I don't know if it matters if you believe in it or not, because, like, I don't know how religious... like, because Ivanova was there, and I mean, I know because Ivanova's not Christian, right? She comes from Jewish. Like,
yeah.
Did she see something a little bit different? I don't know what a Jewish equivalent of an angel is, but
well, I mean, there's still heaven in Judaism.
But is it still angels like in the same? I don't know a whole lot about
I
like other
so.
faiths. I don't even know much about Christianity really beyond what was force fed to me as a child. But I mean,
they still talk about like there's still like Genesis and stuff in the Torah. And...
Okay. I just, the point I'm making is that does it matter if they believe it, or is it just the idea of like they understand the concept? Like, would an atheist still see it? Because even if an atheist doesn't believe in any of that, the idea, because man, going back to what I was saying in the finale, it's not so much that this is proof of any of this existing. It's more that Vorlons have influenced our culture enough from an early stage. So it's not so much that you have to believe in it; it's just that you have to have that idea in your head because you just know about it.
Yeah, I guess the idea is that the Vorlons, because they're an ancient race, along with the Shadows, have been giving the idea of like this good and evil battle from so long ago that it's influenced all religions in a way.
I think more to the point with the Vorlons, because maybe the Shadows have directly been doing this too, but I don't think we've had necessarily hints of that. I suppose technically we modern interaction with people still kind of them meddling, but we do know for a fact though
he's a little serpentine, isn't he?
But we do know for a fact though that the Vorlons have been directly watching and interfering and being, having an influence in some way in Earth culture from, at least since Victorian times, but clearly much longer than that based on this religious stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the Narn are the only ones who really know about other than Minbari, I guess, but like the Narns are the ones who like see the Shadows as like these ancient demon things because they have ancient texts and stuff, and it looks very much like an old religion history thing. Yeah,
but they clearly don't have the full, like, they have different information than Minbari. I think that's what's interesting about this is when we have this character in this episode who goes around and talks to all the ambassadors, and in the case of Jakar, an ex, ambassador, is he presents this story as, oh, there were, 1,000 years ago, give or take, this ship, landed somewhere on like the outskirts of one of our, of our planet or something, and these stories kind of came from that. So it sounds very different to knowing about the extent of what the war. I don't think it doesn't sound like Jakar and the Narn know about the ancient war as much as the Minbari do.
No, it seems like they see more of the shadows as ancient history that's been passed down. Yeah. But it's also like some people think it's more of like, oh, the faith people are the ones that believe in that stuff. But because they are so spiritual, they take their history a lot more seriously, so it gets passed down. It's
like a boogeyman to them in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's based on something. It's not just out of thin air, but obviously you can tell why people, Narn in present day, because it's so long ago. Not everyone necessarily, subscribes to this, because even that was one of the first things we ever learned about Natoth, was that she didn't really buy into all this religion stuff that Jakar's into. Which again, I love. I love that we have a Narn who's like, more of an atheist. It's like it doesn't paint every race as having one culture and belief, and that's it. So that's neat. That's neat, is what I'm saying. But
what's it going to do to all the religious humans when they find out that that Kosh and the Vorlon are their angels? Aliens are angels. I don't know. Their minds might explode.
I don't know how definitive that statement should be. We don't know if they're actually the angels, or if they just influenced the image of what the angel's supposed to look like. Or did they adopt the image of what the angel's supposed to look like?
There is still religion. There's still Christianity on Earth at this time in 2260.
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying we don't know if they influenced the image of the angel, or if the image of the angel was adopted by them because of what it already was in our culture, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about what anyone believes or anything. I'm just saying how the connection between the two things was made back in the day, effectively.
Sure. It's hard for me to understand how there could still be aliens and God in the same worldview.
Well,
because God creates Earth.
Well, that's the same problem we always encounter. Is every time there's more science, so it's like all of a sudden the goalposts get moved to somehow justify how God still exists in this context. We keep doing that, just that happens. So I believe that happens for the next couple of 100 years, and even once there's multiple alien races and multiple planets in different parts of the galaxy. I get it. That's probably the easiest to believe thing of the whole show, is that those goalposts keep moving. So anyway, Kosh is a sassy little bitch in this scene, I thought, in an amusing way, where
talk to the hand.
Yeah, because Sheridan says he's annoyed when Kosh just gives him these ambiguous answers still, and Kosh is like, because he's like, it's really annoying when you do that, and Kosh just goes, good. And I'm like, oh gosh, you snappy little bitch.
He's probably a little upset that he had to expose himself, be so vulnerable to so many people.
Don't phrase it that way. He had to expose himself.
I mean, he did.
Oh dear.
Sure, he violated something.
Yes. The Vorlon Prime Directive, as it were. So that's, honestly, this scene more than anything is just kind of a nice little establishment of it's been a week since the finale. We're still at the start of the new year, and not much time has passed, so that's cool. And then from there, we get a couple of plot lines introduced. One is that this guy Cole, we don't get his name till later, obviously, but he just barely escapes. A couple of other aliens sacrifice themselves, getting him through this Centauri blockade so he can get to Babylon 5. He barely gets there. They briefly, I wouldn't even have noticed this because they don't even show much of it to us, but there's a line here that points out we're in a new med bay. For whatever reason, they wanted to change the set.
So the new digs?
Yeah, there's a line about it being new, and I was like, honestly, there's so much this is close-ups that I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice that we're in a new...
I noticed it. It seems a little smaller. Maybe it's because the last one had so much white that it just looked bigger.
I wonder if they made it smaller because they needed some more room on the stage for another set. For whatever, I don't know. But do you know what? I think the direction has improved in this show as it's went on, and I do think there's some great examples of it in this episode. I did think it was a little funny in this scene though. Like they really overdid he's going to be gone when he turns around. You know, because Franklin's on the...
Yeah. It was sort of like the camera was moving up on Franklin like he was like being stalked by Michael Myers or something.
Yeah. Oh, to be fair, actually, I say that you knew he was going to be gone. I actually didn't expect that. I was expecting him to be standing up and looking at him.
Me too.
That's what I was expecting. But him...
I was expecting the Michael Myers cam, yeah.
Him Batmaning out of the scene works too. But either way, it was like, he's obviously not going to be lying on the table when he turns around. That was the key thing. So...
I do... You know, I'm accepting of this new character. I'm excited about his story. But I do recognize the actor. He played Seth in Third Rock from the Sun. He was Sally's like angsty, cool hipster boyfriend for like 2 episodes. And he was so hilarious. And he sounds exactly the same in this show that I just can't separate it right now.
I never recognized him, but now that you've said this, I can hear him like talking about his poetry,
it's like the same,
or his art.
It's probably like the same, his art, his poetry, and he's like, don't want to be part of the system, and don't want to conform with society.
I can remember him. Now you've mentioned it. That's kind of fun. That's a fun thing. So
I couldn't unsee it. Oh my god, it's going to take a little while for me to accept that it's not Seth on this on the screen.
I mean, you'll get there. We do have one, I'd say, slightly dodgy guest star this episode. Obviously not the guy who comes to ask the questions. He's perfectly fine. He's actually quite good guest star, to be honest. All his little mannerisms I thought were quite good. But there's a bald guy with a mustache at one point, like a thug, on the lower decks, who was really hamming it up.
He's bald, but like I think he's got like a braid that comes out.
Oh, so sure,
like,
yeah.
He's super weird looking. And he looks like a wrestler.
And his mustache, which is almost a goatee because it goes all the way down, but it flicks up at the bottom a little bit, so it's a little handlebar-y, just a little bit. It's a character. It's the sort of guy who's like, he's always cast as a prisoner. I'm sure he's played a prisoner about 100 times, and he's like, just because he's got this kind of tough look to him. Particularly from the 80s and 90s when they wanted the prisoners to all look kind of like they're from like a motorbike gang or something,
like they're nature's way of saying don't touch. the weird braid.
No, I'm complaining. I'm not complaining so much though, because it did make me chuckle. Like I was kind of, because he's only in one scene and it's just there to kind of show us that our new character can fight, and he's got a cool like staff that retracts and stuff. He's got a Minbari war stick that kind of goes shush, 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 and then...
Yeah. He said he got it from a friend. Do we think that might be Sinclair?
No!
Because Sinclair's like in charge of the Rangers, right?
Well, he is, but the way he said it's a gift from a friend. I assumed that would mean he was close to Minbari, like a Minbari gave him it. That's what I thought. But I mean, maybe you're right. But
I thought he said that as like a... You know, we don't... He's not saying who it is specifically, but like, is it a gift from a friend? Like, I don't know. It kind of just makes me think of it's somebody that we know already.
I'm expecting it to be, we'll get backstory at some point, and he's either been in love with a Minbari who gave it to him, or it's like a best friend who's a Minbari.
Oh, his Arwen gave him that. That makes sense.
Was that a Lord of the Rings reference? How
yes.
dare you?
The show is full of it.
How dare you?
What do you want from me?
I'm shocked and disgusted. I don't even know what to say that. But
I invested like 6 years of my life into Lord of the Rings. Okay, I know.
So Cole wants to meet up with Delenn. Gets a message to Lanier with his brooch, and they go find him. He knows this is the thing. This is one of these little things that has paid off. Like we knew about the alcohol thing, that the alcohol will turn them into homicidal maniacs, basically. And he's like, of course I got you on non-alcoholic drinks because I know the effect it has, which just helps prove that I'm not some chump. I'm someone you can kind of trust.
I like that Lanier like sacrifices himself to take a sip from the drink first.
Yeah, well, I like to think that he can taste it and then spit it back out, and he won't rage. I assume that was the tactic.
The way he's told it before was like one drop and I'm over the edge.
Yes, but he's like, it's safe. Like, what was going to happen if he did go? Like, was he expecting Delenn to be able to fight him down? But yeah, so they go to Sheridan. There's a bit of a joke here. Instead of just having a scene that sort of has him explain to Ivanova everything that she's not heard yet, they play it as a joke where she just already knows all of it. And he's like, wait, how? What? How did this happen?
She has eyes everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know, it was an amusing enough thing. So basically, he's there to tell them that there's this planet that has one of the Ranger training bases on it, and the idea being that there's multiple of these, but this is one such, and the Centauri had a blockade around it with lots of mines, and as we find out later, this was something that the Shadows wanted, but basically it's like, hey Sheridan, we need you to come in and like help, and Garibaldi rightly points out, yeah, but we don't have like a big warship or like, a crew or anything, and they're like, no, we have the means, but we need someone to actually lead us, we need someone who knows how to do that. So he's like, yeah, I'm not going to back down, let's like actually be proactive for once, let's do something, let's not react. And this is what takes us out into this journey, into our new secret weapon, our fancy warship, which is half Vorlon, half Minbari, but intentionally doesn't look enough like either one. So, because that's actually one of the key tactics of this episode, is that when the Shadows, because this is the thing, they go one-on-one with a shadow ship this episode and live to tell the tale, which is very notable in and of itself, which sets the stage for the season, gives us this idea that we have a fighting chance, which is nice. It's a really good dramatic sort of technique at this point in the story to say, no, we can actually do this. It's not all doom and gloom. But part of the key thing there is that they don't just outright kill them right away. The Shadows, that is. The Shadows don't just outright kill the ship, because they don't understand who it is. Like, who is this? What race is this? They want to investigate, and that's what gives them enough of a chance to pull some fancy tricks. And do you know what the funny thing is they tease early in the episode where Delenn, because when the guy, the investigator, we'll get to this plot separately in a minute, but the investigator comes to see her and shows the footage that Kefir got of the shadow ship, and she lies and says, oh, I've never seen anything like this, but she clearly reacts to it. And when the guy leaves, Sheridan's like, what is it? And she's like, we know about their ships, but I've never seen one, and that's why she reacted the way she did. And talks about how it's like, she basically describes it like a Terminator, like, once it's locked onto you, it'll never stop, it'll always keep coming, and it'll find you, and it'll destroy you. No one's ever destroyed one of these ships. And as soon as she said that, I thought of Sheridan being the one guy who destroyed the Minbari ship. And they actually paid off this thought later in the episode, because when they do get like caught, when the shadow ship sees them and Delenn's getting worried, she's like, this thing's unkillable. This ship is like, you can't destroy this ship. It's undoable. And Sheridan smiles at her and says, it's not the first time I've been told that. And it just is like, I had that thought. It's like, yeah. This is the writers knowing that you might have a thought earlier in the episode and paying it off later.
Oh yeah, it totally crossed my mind. But I also thought, come on, Sheridan, like, it is some Minbari. Don't say it to a Minbari.
No, I think it
especially one that you've got complicated feelings for.
I think it played it well enough that it didn't come off as a dick move.
He said like no disrespect or something. Yeah.
So like this idea that he's been the one guy who's done this before, and he pulls a really effective maneuver.
Hey, Lydia, remember when I killed all your family on the Dark Star or whatever?
Aww.
I'm gonna do it again, but this time to bad people.
So when they go there, basically the Centauri fleet's already moved, but they've left all the mines, so they're just taking out the mines until the shadow ship. And the idea being that all the Rangers on the planet can get out to the little passage that they've cleared, and that's what happens. Basically, the ship, which has a Minbari crew, can make its own jump gate, but he has this crazy idea of making a jump gate when they're already in hyperspace, and that's super dangerous, and it's been attempted before, but this ship might be fast enough to do it without dying. So they effectively do it, and I don't know if it confirms outright that they destroy this shadow ship. Well, the shadow ship might have survived, but it certainly looked like it probably died in that explosion. Well, they said they was
going to destroy whatever the jump gate tunnel thing is. That would get destroyed, because they purposely use a jump gate that would go to the Marcab.
The Marcab.
Marcab.
Yeah. Give or take.
Planetary system, because essentially we don't really need to go there anymore because the race has been wiped out and the only people who are using the jump gates are like grave robbers or something.
Oh, so I like that callback.
That's why they used it.
That was like a... Because that was such a great episode. It's not super important detail-wise, but it was just a nice little like bit of connective tissue that for me to bring this up and say, that's why we'll use this one, because the race that lived here doesn't need it anymore. So,
yeah.
So, plus he's a hero, and he's like, I hate grave robbers, which is like, yeah, F yeah, Sheridan. Go on, be a hero. Be this shiny. Because even the start of the episode, when they're waiting on the guy arriving, the investigator dude, what's his name here, just so I've got somebody. Call... Oh god, where is he in this? Oh, there he is. Endawai. I don't remember his name at all. They must have just referred to him as the, not ambassador, but the delegate from Earth or something. I don't know. Anyway, so they're standing around waiting for him, and Sheridan's been all antsy about it. He's like, oh, someone's out of the blue, they're sending this guy, this can't be good. And Ivanova says, look in the bright side, and she sort of says a couple of things. Like, are you trying to cheer me up, Lieutenant? Or, I don't appreciate it. I hate being cheered up. It's like, okay, in that case, sir, we're all doomed, we're all going to die. Feel better? Yes, thank you. Like, I don't know, I feel like over the course of the season that he's been on the show, that he's really, gotten comfortable with the role, really slid into it, and we're at this place now.
Well, also, that's sort of Ivanova's shtick, right? She doesn't give comfort, she gives doom and gloom.
Yes.
So maybe that does make him feel more comfortable. Like, okay, things are normal because Ivanova's talking about the end of the end of everything.
No, that's a good point. So, yeah, the narrowly escape, and it's a fun beat. I like the little joke with Lanier, where he's like, nothing in the training, back at the academy for whatever we do, prepared me for this. So I think I'm going to make some suggestions to add in some classes.
Gonna write a strongly worded email over Crystal.
It was a neat touch. But there was a lot of little moments in here that I really loved, where Sheridan says to Delenn, "Are you ready for this like insane maneuver that may kill us all?" And Delenn smiles and says, "Not really, but I'm game." Like, I'll do it anyway.
Let's go.
I believe in you.
I like Delenn's new outfit also. I think it's a very nice one.
Oh, sure.
Let's go through that out there.
You could throw out the costume praise or lack thereof if the need arises. Yeah, the characters are being proactive. They have this ship now. They've got something they can do. And the episode ends with him forming this war council, which includes Cole. He does say whatever ranger happens to be stationed, but given that Cole's in the opening titles, I suspect that it's almost always going to be Cole. But, Franklin's... And again, this was played for laughs, and it did kind of make me chuckle that Franklin's like the least informed at this point, where he's like, granted I'm very busy, and granted I'm in the med bay, and granted I'm the last one to find the Earth, but can someone tell me... what are these shadows? What's going on? And then, the episode ends with Delenn kind of, saying the spiel, these ancient races and the oldest of the shadows and blah, blah, and it fades to black. But it fades on a kind of, we're being proactive, we're making steps, we're not just reacting to what's happening at the station anymore, which is really important from a story perspective, because you want your characters to feel proactive, but, you don't want them to always just feel that they're reacting to things. You want to root for them.
Absolutely.
So...
I do like the moment that Jakar gets, even though it's very brief. But when the investigator goes to talk to him and asks him like, do you know anything about these ships? And he kind of has a sigh, like, finally, like somebody is taking this seriously, because he's been wearing the end is nigh sign for a little while about these. I mean, at the beginning of season 2 was him trying to search for him.
Yeah.
And somebody is taking this seriously, and is coming to him.
He only stopped because like the Minbari war got in the way. Yeah, also. Like he was basically sidetracked because of everything else, understandably. So no, I agree. I love this moment from him where he just felt relief that someone finally wanted to hear. And all it made me think was, like, can Delenn like get Jakar on the this war council, please? Because they clearly have other information. He would clearly have expertise. And
Lando's not on the war council, like.
Oh yeah, and Sheridan even says at the end, there's more to be added to this. We're going to bring more people into this group, which is cool and it's exciting.
Yeah, and it was nice that Jakar had a moment of usefulness too. Like I'm sure it was good for him and for us, like who are rooting for him. Like he had this moment that was where he felt needed, and
it was this moment where he just felt relief that someone wanted to talk to him about it. I was like, oh my god, you could be talking to Delenn and Sheridan about this. You could be having these conversations, and I'm sure it's going to happen.
Well, I mean, Sheridan, he'd probably have to do it quietly because the Earth has an alliance treaty with the Centauri.
Oh, I think it's safe to say at this point that Sheridan doesn't give a shit about betraying that. I think it's very safe to make that assumption at this point.
Well, I'm sure they still want to be discreet.
Yes, they'll be discreet. As Garibaldi puts it, it'll be unofficial. But
yes,
because Garibaldi doesn't tell himself anything.
No,
it's a need to know basis. So if he doesn't need to know, he doesn't tell himself. That was a very Garibaldi scene, but there's part of what makes Garibaldi so charming.
Yeah, it was cute.
But anyway, he does go to see Londo, and I thought Londo's subplot in this episode is very interesting in a number of ways. First of all, the idea that Londo has never seen one of these ships, because that didn't really occurred to me, because this guy goes to him, he shows him the footage, and he has this moment of recognition, and for a second I thought, oh, he's not seen them, but he's realizing that this is them. But then it turns out that he's actually recognizing them from a dream that he had instead.
This dream, I think we've seen it before.
Yeah, I think we've seen fragments of it for sure. That was interesting, and I do like that later in the episode he actually questions that, is this them? Because he says to Morden later on in the episode, hey, these ships that you use, like, is there a chance and then of course Morden redirects the conversation that goes away, but I do like that he has that thought eventually. He's like, wait, is that them? Like, because the truth is that he's never quite understood who he's dealing with. He's never understood it, and this idea that this apocalyptic dream where he is genuinely like scared of when he's talking about it. He's talking about, oh, there's a fleet of these ships who blot out the sun. Like, it does sound disastrous, and the plot in this episode for him is to, like, he wants to separate himself from Morden, only to find out that Morden's already like cozying up with Rifa.
Yep.
And obviously we'll get to the ending scene with all that stuff, but this idea that Morden says, well, this is fine, we'll leave, and this part of space is ours, and this side of the line's yours, and as long as you never cross that line, that's fine, we'll never interrupt with you. However, Londo's dream kind of implies that eventually, once they're done doing whatever they're doing in that side of space, that the Minbari side is equally open for them to come and take. Like,
yeah.
It's very ominous in all those ways. And him just casually dropping, I've already asked Rifa for a favor, was kind of like, oh, like, Londo all of a sudden doesn't feel as important anymore.
Right, because in the like one of the earliest scenes with Londo is that he's talking to Morden like, hey, thanks for your help, but we're not going to do business with you anymore. You're no longer necessary. In fact, you're kind of in the way of Centauri, like, getting its own glory. And Morden does the thing where he's like, okay, I see, we're no longer necessary, and walks away. And then you get a little like did you think that felt threatening though, the way he sort of responded to that? Because it kind of felt like to me like, hey, mobster, I don't need you anymore, like, let's break this deal up. And it's almost like Morden was very passive aggressively being like, oh, so we're not needed anymore. Oh, okay. Like, I don't know, a little bit like he was teasing him like, okay, this is an easy thing for you, so you think, basically. But like when he's walking away, you can hear a little sound or something, like, and then he turns around and says, oh, one more thing, we're gonna have to, like, there's terms of this
divorce.
We're gonna have to talk about it. But I do like that Londo was basically like telling him to suck his 6 tentacles or whatever and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, Joe's. So that's the thing. We get to this scene towards the end where, because we were joking in the finale about how Kefir's footage was going to put a damper on the whole secrecy. And this episode mostly kind of deals with it in the sense that, Delenn lies about it. The only one who has any real information is Jakar, but even his comes across as, it's like an old prophecy. It's not necessarily something concrete that you can really report on in a good way. So he goes
even
back,
other Narn don't take it seriously.
Yeah, so he goes back to Earth, and this, he gives his report to, like, his superior, this woman who's there, whatever her rank is or role.
Also not a great actress. We can move past that.
I don't imagine we're going to see much of her specifically. She seems like a one and done. But
was she like a senator? I think he called her that.
Something like that.
No, maybe I'm making it up.
But he, hands his report in and he says, yeah, the only thing I really got was like myths and, boogeyman stories, nothing really concrete, blah, blah, blah. And he leaves. And one of the key points of direction here that I really liked was the way it framed Morden and the Psychor cop when they come in. Because the way they walked into frame and then the way the camera sort of, pivots round and it shows them, and it doesn't do the traditional, shot, reverse shot, just, like the camera's looking at us now, which is what a lot of TV is. It's this, the medium close-up or the medium shot or the close-up, and then you just go back and forth. This was more of a profile shot. You could see the window. And the key here, though, was that the Psychor guy was clearly visible the entire time, and Morden was surrounding him. And it was very much a case of, all this Psychor shit on Earth and this idea that Morden's reaching out to people and manipulating people is not just one person, it's not just one race.
Yeah.
And because we've been saying ever since they've been introducing all this Earth Force stuff or Earth First stuff and the Psychor and Bureau 13, we've been saying we expect it to connect to the main plot at some point, right? That's been something we've been saying. And I know Tara's wanting to gloat in a minute because... So here's the thing. Here's how my mind worked here. I saw this and went, you know what? I remember us talking about this possibility, and goes, oh, look at us, good for us. We thought about this. And then I spoke to Tara off camera, and she had this smirk in her face. And apparently, when she suggested that Morden was talking to other people, I might have poo-pooed it a little bit. So Tara could take a victory lap here. I give you the floor. Take the victory lap.
I'm not very good at gloating. I feel vindicated.
Sure. No, honestly, I think at the time I said that it felt like the way he pursued Londo, I took it as it was because it was important to find the right ally. But clearly what it was finding the right ally on Babylon 5. Clearly there was allies all over the system. And now that he's already made a connection and shifted to Rifa, now Londo's not even important for this entire connection anymore. But he was the door.
Right.
He was the right door in the right place at that right particular time, right? That's what it was.
Maybe after he dealt with Londo, he realized that he can just deal with Centauri and went to Rifa also. I mean, Rifa's been on board Babylon 5 quite a bit. And I think we had this conversation after Rifa sort of dismissed Londo as he was expendable at this point, even though he had an army. I think I was kind of thinking, well, maybe Rifa has also been in contact with Morden.
He could have. I think by that point, he very possibly could have. I think that might be a case of
this episode opens with the Centauri surrounding the planet, so that deal has already been done before Londo cut ties with.
Oh, for sure, definitely before this episode. Yeah, clearly he's been in contact with Rifa from before that, because that's the surprise. He's like, I've already spoken to Rifa, and he's done this around this planet.
Yeah,
clearly. Obviously, he was in contact with Londo first, right? He made that was the first relationship he built.
That's what I assumed.
And I wonder, at what point did he reach out? Now, maybe he would have always reached out to more people in power in the Centauri regime. I wonder, though, if it was when Londo showed the first signs of being hesitant about certain things, along that. Because, there were several times where he did sort of, not immediately jump into, yes, use your ships to go and kill everyone. There was times when he was a little bit hesitant, right? And I wonder, at what point did he make contact then with Rifa or whoever else, and because obviously these connections on Earth to someone in the government and the Psychor, that's clearly something that's been bubbling separately for a long time, at least a couple of years.
Yeah, I wonder if if they had something to do with the assassination of the emperor or president of Earth or whatever it is.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, this treaty between Earth and the Minbari, if the shadows are
Centauri.
behind. Oh, sorry, Centauri, sorry, yeah. If the idea of the shadows have manipulated this from both sides, the reason why they're making them join up is because both sides of power have been influenced to do that. That's a interesting way of looking at it. And at what point, because, we can't necessarily assume that everything from Earth is connected to this. I don't know, because we see this Psychop.
The Mars stuff, probably not. Because
we see this Psychop sitting on the couch, and the assumption is, okay, does that mean Bureau 13 then is completely connected to this? And it probably is. I think that's the intention of showing the Psychop. But there is a little wiggle room to say, oh no, Psychor as a whole is, but Bureau 13 is a specific sub thing that's broke away from that potentially. I'm not necessarily assuming that, but I'm just saying the window's there for it if they do something like that at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
But yes, Tara can take the victory lap because she was right on this case.
All right.
You were.
I'm right about the wife.
All I can do, or all I can say is that I tried to justify why I thought what I did at the time.
Yeah. It's okay. It's fun to speculate.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, but I can poo-poo things a bit if I don't agree with them. So I'll give you the, I'll give you the throne for the episode.
Thank you.
Queen Tara.
Feels good to be up here.
I have a chair. Queen of the castle. Queen of the castle.
I'm older. I'm also older than you, so I'm much wiser. I've seen this stuff before.
Now, hon, you can't say
storytelling's all cyclical.
If you put much in front of wiser, you have to put it in front of older as well. That's the rule.
No. I make the rules. I respect your elder.
You can't say you're a little older but much wiser. It's not exponential.
That's how wisdom works. Everyone has that.
But this is fascinating. I think what's so interesting about this opening episode is that it connects Morden to something that we've never seen him connected to before, which therefore connects the shadows to and what they're up to and what they're manipulating to a big branch of the show that was separate before. And then it also gives our main characters this proactive position where, okay, we're going to have these meetings, we've got this fancy ship now, we've got more of a... Because this is the thing, now Sheridan at times can go on this ship and go and fight a battle that's away from the station. It's not just going to be on the station itself. So that's super interesting.
Which he has a hunger for. He likes to command a ship.
And then on top of that, you've got this idea of, in this episode, when they're debating, do we go and help these Rangers, if we fire upon the Centauri, they're still pretty pissy about that last time, because that was just the last episode that we had that conflict where we shot down one of their ships. So, I love that all these things that should be mentioned in the thought process of the decision making is being brought up, and it's, so all that tracks.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like the little detail of we get a little extra Minbari lore of how they create jewelry. They have to the ranger pins are dipped in some sort of bowl of holy water and then blood of Minbari and blood of humans.
Well, to be fair, I don't think
everything, even when they make a brooch, it has to be a ritual. I
don't think that's all jewelry. I think that's specifically the ranger jewelry because it's it's a unification between humans and Minbari. I think that's
everything has a ritual. It's consistent.
Yeah. What I'm saying is I don't think every random bit of jewelry that Delenn walks out in was bathed in human blood.
I don't know, man. They have a ritual for eating.
True. They have a lot of
they have
weird
a ritual
rituals
for making a brooch.
Yes. So next time when she has dinner with Sheridan, is okay, this time we're going to do it Earth style. He's going to have a pizza box with a slice of pizza. It's okay, we're just going to sit with pizza, and
I'm sure she'll be very uncomfortable by it.
Oh yes, and then afterwards maybe we'll make out or something.
We'll get some ice cream.
Yes. Oh God. I suppose you have to check if alcohol does that to Minbari. You have to check all the other things that might affect Minbari, does dairy going to send them into some sort of weird mental state that's separate?
Just makes their skin break out instantly.
Is there
covered in boils.
Is there one that's an extreme aphrodisiac? Because maybe you'll want to stock up on that.
Ah.
Mint. Does mint make them horny? Here, have some mint. Lots of mint.
I'm sure they've been on board Babylon 5 long enough to know.
Sure.
They have to know all their weaknesses.
The seduction technique of the Minbari. You just need to get some mint.
Just rub some toothpaste on your body.
I was thinking more seductive mint chocolate chip ice cream eating or something, but sure, toothpaste. Go with the toothpaste.
My grandmother used to put toothpaste on my arms, or when I got a mosquito bite, that was her grandmother's remedy for curing any kind of swelling from bites was to put toothpaste on it. I believed her, but it never helped. I just went to bed sticky.
So it was bullshit, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well. It is what it is. But no, we got a new character. We got a new ship. We got all these firsts to make it feel like it is the start of a a new chapter in the show. But at the same time, it also feels like it falls right on from what we just got, and everything has all the weight to it that it should have because we are just continuing with what we have. There's
good episode, good opening season, I think.
There's little to complain about, really. As much as I got a chuckle out of it, the quick, this is Ivana just knows everything already, we'll play it off as a joke. It's a little bit of a writing like shortcut, but I'll accept it.
Sure.
I'll accept it.
She does have psychic abilities. Maybe she's holding back on how much she really knows.
Actually, you know what? That's a good point. Maybe she's picking up more than she's realizing.
Yeah.
She walks right in and she's like, yes, he's a ranger, and you and Delenn, and Garibaldi's the liaison, and blah blah blah. It's like, damn, she's pretty on the money with this.
Yeah.
But we've heard about the rangers for a while. Now we actually have a main ranger that we're going to see.
Strida.
And he's got his fancy stick thing. that's the technical term, stick thing.
Good for him.
Minbari staff. The Minbari staff that extracts and then retracts when he wants to look cool.
Very nice.
Why are you laughing at that? I'm
not laughing. You're laughing. Shut up.
Is this a penis thing? Is this phallic in nature?
No, I wouldn't laugh at something so dumb.
I think you are. I think I said I'm embarrassed stick that extracts and then retracts is made you think of the penis.
Shut up. Stupid. I would never laugh at something so dumb. Anyway, good episode.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah, good season opener. I was excited by everything in this episode. It's like it didn't hit the highs of like the insanely amazing episodes of like the Shadow of Zadum or the season finale per se, but it was a lot of solid serialized stuff that all feels important, it all feels relevant, and it didn't feel like they wasted a scene. There was no wasted scenes in this episode.
No, great setup, and very excited about the Shadows, about Morden like working with Psycor and Earth Force and Bureau 13.
We should mention something about that scene we didn't mention because we were just so busy talking about the fact that of who was there, the thing that came out of it, which is like, the only ones who really seem to know anything, because Delenn lied, the Minbari know more than they know, which is good. So this actually was good in that it confirmed to us that it worked, that they don't know how much they do know, but the Narn knows some stuff, but it's kind of it's not that believed, and then Morden sort of shot, well, we dealt with that problem already because we helped the Centauri basically wipe them out as a threat. So, which again, the idea that he's dismissing them even though they still exist, they're just not like a militant power. I think that'll be maybe a nice comeuppance later when the Narn get to like be really involved in the fight, like when they get to help the alliance of the Centauri the Minbari and the humans and whoever else. So
I guess I was do you think it's interesting that they didn't when the Psycor guys showed up, it wasn't Bester? I think Bester's like not really involved in this part, or
I mean, I'm sure he's coming back.
He's a face that people would recognize, so he'd be like, "Oh my God, Morden's working with Bester."
I'm sure he's coming back for more episodes, but he's also a big actor relative to the show, so
maybe they just couldn't get Walter Koenig.
I suspect it's just picking and choosing when they're going to like get Walter, Koenig back on the show. So I think that's fair. Like that's the thing, they've made a uniform that we recognize, so the uniform's enough. The uniform, does the job, and that's the thing is the Psycor guys like, hey. What if we don't sweep this under the rug? What if we actually use this as more like fear mongering for Earth? That we can use this as a political tool and say, look at this boogeyman who's out there. Like I was like, you know what? This feels so believable. And Morden's like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe we could do that. So no, but I thought it was important to mention that part specifically. It was like, oh, maybe we'll use this as a
definitely
political tool.
Shouldn't skip over that.
Yeah. Because that was kind of interesting, and it made complete sense as a villainous thing to do. I was like,
fearmonger, use that to get extra power, which I think they even said like we can use this to get more power.
Absolutely, yeah. So no, quality first episode. I am so excited for everything we're going to do in season 3, and I'm excited to see Like, I think the thing I'm most excited for right now, I know you're excited about the kiss, right? You're excited about the Sheridan Delenn kiss.
She did call him John in this episode.
I noticed that. Nice. Very casually. She's very comfortable with it now. She's calling him John. Yeah. Yes. John. And one day he will be her John.
Cute.
Well, it's a double meaning because a prostitute refers to a client as a John.
Oh.
Did you not know that?
No.
I'm sure that's a thing. Yeah, like like when a cop's talking about like a prostitute's like client, they'll say, "Who's the John?" I'm sure that's a thing.
I'm sure you're right. Not in that world.
Well, neither am I. I've seen it in movies, all right?
I was thinking in Creed when Tessa Thompson, because she's from Philly, they call everything a John. This is the John. You're a John. You got a John.
I mean, I thought a John was the bathroom in the US, but all right.
Yeah, that's also a thing.
Yes. So anyway, I was just gonna say, the thing I'm most excited for is Jakar joining the council. I want Jakar on that team. I want him to feel useful and included because he's the little narn that could. And I can't believe how much I'm rooting for Jakar now, but I am.
Yeah.
So. And
even this is clearly the start of Londo's redemption story. Still on Team Jakar here.
Absolutely.
Londo's got a lot of work to do, you know.
But I think the idea that if Londo can like make some sort of move by the end of the story that helps the good guys win, it's like, okay, he did something good. Yeah. Like even if, you know, even if he's still ultimately a villain, he still has to pay for what he's done.
Yeah.
The last moment of redemption.
I know we're wrapping up here, but the dream that he talked about was pretty interesting, though. Mm-hmm. It does make me think, like, man, it sure is interesting that the Centauri seem to have this like ability to prophesize. Like they have in like the science fiction kind of way, they have this ability to see the future.
Well, I think this is still tied to, because all he's ever really said, as far as I can remember, is that it's always about their end, right? So the idea that this visual of the ships is also tied to his ending, which I think works with the themes of everything. This fear of them is like, and because it literally is the beginning of his ending, right? Like his association with these people, with the shadows, is what's leading him down this path that's leading him to his end. So it's very, so even if it's not literally they're going to like blot out the sun in the future, it could be metaphorical, but either way it works, and both ways. I mean, it can be both. It absolutely can be both.
I mean, he had this image of a ship in his mind, so which he admits he had never seen before.
Yeah, we know it's a real thing.
Something has put that in his mind. Either he has the ability to see the future. He's got this. I mean, we know the Centauri have something. It's just from a science fiction point of view, it's interesting. Like, I wonder if there's a way to explain it with like science fiction language other than they have some sort of clarity.
Yeah. I mean, he did say that all Centauri see some version of their ending. And
in Science Importance, we saw the woman who was like an oracle.
And obviously they have straight up oracles who see lots of things. You know, obviously that's like a more advanced version of it, where some people are obviously in the same way that some people are born with greater abilities or whatever. But no, it is interesting. I kind of like that everyone had a reaction. I love that Delenn, Jakar, and Londo all had a different but very meaningful reaction to seeing that footage and seeing that ship. They all felt something different. They all reacted very strongly to it. And I think the idea that Londo didn't even know, right? Maybe he's starting to speculate, because obviously he asked the question later, but he doesn't even know that this is them. And that when he realizes that what he's been working with is also tied to doing lots of other things, that maybe he sees the horror and he sees what he's a part of. Like that could be very fascinating when that all starts to like the dominoes fall into place in that sense. So excellent. Season 3 is underway. So there will be a new color on the thumbnail, and there'll be a new pose from Tara. So
dang it, I'm not ready. Can you just use the one where I'm superimposed onto Delenn?
The photoshopped?
That's a good one.
Well, I'm sure the viewer would be more than happy for me to use their Photoshop work. There's a weird copyright thing there.
Okay.
So, all right, 3, 2, 1, pause. I'm pretty sure you just mimicked the season 1 pose, but it's fine. You'll just look a little bit older.
Thanks.
A little bit. I mean,
And
a
wiser.
little bit, and a little wiser. Notice how I use little equally in both parts.
Well, I mean, I appreciate one of them.
Little older, little wiser. All right, that's been season 3, sorry, episode 1 of Babylon 5. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Do like and subscribe. We do appreciate all the comments that we do get on this show. It's very lively down there. It's very cool stuff. And all of it does help. All interacting with the comments, interacting with the like button, the bell for notifications, all of that does help on YouTube. You can, of course, support us financially over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for as little as $1 per month. I don't know why I'm not making Tara do this. I'm just going to autopilot. That's fine.
Just keep going.
So you can do that. And you can, of course, check out our science fiction movie podcast. It is myself and Tara who do that. We talk about sci-fi movies. That's over on Mail Fuzz Movies now. Those tend to be an hour or more for most discussions on the movies. So you may agree with some of them, you may hate some of them because we don't like the movie you do, or vice versa. For example, we were pretty negative on Dark City, which a lot of people really love.
I went into that review thinking I'm going to love this movie because I loved it before.
And then you watched that again.
Watching it recently, I'm like, boy, that's a lot of edits.
But alternatively, there's also some stuff that we obviously both love, and then the stuff that we disagree on. But if you enjoy us talking about Babylon 5, it's maybe worth checking out. The Atomic
just put up Matrix
Cinema.
Revolutions.
We did. We've done the whole Matrix trilogy, and those were very, very much praised in the first one, not so much in the sequels. But I thought the sequel discussion was interesting, even if it was,
I enjoy talking about them.
A dissection of why they don't work rather than why they do work. But hey, that's something. But yeah, that's called the Atomic Cinema Experiment. The Ace. You can find that over in Mail Fuzz Movies, so go check that out. All right, thank you very much once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Babylon 5. Just don't give away the home world.